Good morning, everyone. Let me ask you something. How many of you have ever felt completely out of control? Like life has thrown everything at you. Pain, setbacks, uncertainty, so much that you felt paralyzed. Control is an illusion. Faith is power. Think about it. How much of your life have you spent trying to control every detail? How often do you map out the plan, you expecting everything to go exactly as you imagined, only to be blindsided by reality? We work so hard to micromanage outcomes, to predict every twist and turn, to make sure nothing catches us off guard. And yet, no matter how much effort we put in, life has a way of reminding us that we are not in control. You don't control the weather. You don't control the traffic. You don't control how other people treat you. And most of all, you don't control the timing of your breakthroughs, yet we still try. We still hold on, thinking that if we just work harder, think smarter, push longer, we can force things to go our way. And when they don't, frustration, fear, exhaustion. Real power isn't found in control, it's found in trust. And trust requires faith. Faith is not just believing in God when things are good, it's knowing that even in the chaos, even when nothing makes sense, He is still guiding you. That even when you feel like you're losing, you're actually being positioned for something greater. Imagine you're in the ocean fighting against the waves. The more you struggle, the more exhausted you become. But the moment you stop resisting, when you surrender and allow yourself to float, the water carries you. That's what faith does. It carries you when your strength runs out. So what if instead of fighting for control, you fought to trust more? What if you stopped gripping so tightly to your idea of how things should be and instead open your hands to receive what's meant to be? What if the very thing you're worried about right now is already being worked out for your good? Control is an illusion, but faith is power. The moment you stop trying to force the outcome and start trusting the process, you will see doors open that you never even knocked on. You will realize that God has always been working on your behalf. You just needed to step aside and let Him. Your problems aren't bigger than God. I know that might be hard to believe when you're staring down a situation that feels impossible. Maybe it's a financial crisis, a business on the verge of collapse, a relationship slipping through your fingers, or a health scare that's shaking you to your core. When you're in the thick of it, the problem looks massive. It's all you can see. It consumes your thoughts, your energy, your peace. But just because it feels big to you doesn't mean it's big to God. Think about it. What you see as a mountain is just a grain of sand to Him. What you think is an impossible obstacle is nothing more than a momentary challenge in His grand design. But the problem isn't the problem is your perspective. When all you do is focus on the difficulty, you shrink your faith. You make the problem the centerpiece of your life. Imagine for a second that you're holding on to something fragile, something you desperately don't want to break. The tighter you squeeze, the more likely it is to crumble in your hands. That's exactly what happens when you try to control things that were never meant for you to fix alone. The more you stress, the more you micromanage, the more you try to do it all on your own, the more you're blocking the very breakthrough you're praying for. If you're holding it, God can't fix it. He won't rip it out of your hands. He's waiting for you to let go. But letting go doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean being passive. It means trusting that He has a better way, a better strategy or outcome than anything you could orchestrate on your own. You have to release to receive. You have to be willing to step back and say, God, I trust You more than I trust my fear. I trust You more than I trust my need for control. I trust You to do what I can't. Because the moment you do that, you make room for miracles. You make space for things to move that you couldn't move on your own. And suddenly, what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. Stop asking why and start asking what's next. Life has a way of throwing unexpected challenges at us. And the first instinct for most people is to ask, why is this happening to me? Why did I lose that opportunity? Why did my relationship fall apart? Why did I work so hard only to fail? The problem with that question is that it keeps you stuck in the past. It keeps you searching for an explanation instead of a solution. And here's the truth. Some things you will never understand in the moment. Some answers won't come when you want them. But if you waste your energy trying to figure out the why, you'll miss the opportunity to move forward. The real power lies in shifting your focus from why to what's next? What do I do with this challenge? What lesson can I take from it? What's the next move I can make that puts me back in a position of strength? When you shift to what's next, you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being a creator of possibilities. You stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as redirections. Some of the most successful, resilient, unstoppable people in this world are not the ones who never failed. They're the ones who refused to stay down. They lost, they hurt, they struggled, but instead of getting stuck in why, they focused on what's next and move forward. And moving forward requires one key decision: choosing faith over fear. Fear will paralyze you. It will convince you that you're not ready, that it's too late, that you're not enough. Fear is the voice that whispers doubt in your ear, keeping you small. But faith is the fire inside of you that says, keep going. Faith is what allows you to step out even when you don't see the whole path. Faith says, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know that something greater is on the other side of this. And that's the choice you have to make every single day. Fear will keep you stuck. Faith will launch you. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to take the next step. And when you do, doors will open, opportunities will arise, and you'll realize that everything you thought was working against you was actually setting you up for something greater. You have two choices in every moment: fear or faith. Fear will keep you frozen, stuck in the same patterns, replaying the worst case scenarios in your mind. It will make you hesitate, second guess yourself, and question whether you're capable, worthy, or strong enough to move forward. Fear thrives on doubt, and the more you feed it, the louder it gets. It will convince you to stay small, to stay comfortable, to avoid risks, because risk means uncertainty, and uncertainty means a loss of control. But here's the truth. The greatest breakthroughs in life don't come from playing it safe. They come from stepping into the unknown with faith. Faith is the opposite of fear. It doesn't mean you won't feel afraid. It means you don't let fear control you. Faith is standing in the middle of uncertainty and believing that something greater is unfolding even if you can't see it yet. Faith says, I don't need all the answers. I just need to take the next step. The people who change their lives, who create miracles, who rise above challenges, aren't the ones who never feel fear. They're the ones who choose faith despite it. So what will it be? Stay stuck in fear, waiting for the perfect moment that will never come, or step forward in faith, trusting that as you move, God moves with you. One keeps you stagnant, the other leads to transformation. The choice is yours. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can keep carrying the weight of everything, trying to force, push, and control your way to a breakthrough, or you can step back and let God do what only He can. Too many people live their lives gripping onto fear, stress, and doubt like a lifeline, afraid that if they let go, everything will fall apart. But what if the opposite is true? What if the very thing you're afraid to release is the thing that's keeping you from your next level? Leaving it to God doesn't mean doing nothing, doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for life to happen. It means doing what you can with what you have, where you are, and then surrendering the outcome. It means trusting that the delays, the detours, and even the disappointments are all part of a bigger plan, a plan that's unfolding for your good. When you try to control everything, you limit what's possible, right? But when you release it, when you trust, when you stop forcing and start flowing, you make space for miracles. So what's it going to be? Keep carrying a burden that was never meant for you? Keep overanalyzing, overthinking, and exhausting yourself with worry? Or will you decide right here, right now, to leave it to God? Because when you do, everything shifts. Doors you never imagined will open. Peace you've been craving will flood in. Strength you didn't know you had will rise up. Because when you stop holding everything so tight, God steps in. And when he steps in, nothing is impossible. At the end of the day, life will test you. It will push you, stretch you, and throw challenges your way that feel overwhelming. You will have moments of doubt, moments of exhaustion, moments where you question if you're strong enough to keep going. But in those moments, you have a choice. You can either hold on to fear, to control, to the belief that you have to figure everything out on your own, or you can surrender. You can step into faith. You can trust that the same God who's carried you this far isn't going to abandon you now. Leaving it to God isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's knowing that no matter how hard you try, some things are beyond your control. It's understanding that your problems are not bigger than God, that your fear is not greater than your faith.